I was originally planning on waiting on doing characters this powerful until like later on in the future until I got a lot more videos out about the How Strong series. But heck, the CW is coming out with the Crisis on Infinite Earths TV event, definitely their version of Avengers Endgame, but in live action TV form. And I thought this would be a perfect time to go ahead and work on this and show people or refresh people and get some knowledge on how strong the Antimatter is from the actual comic book lore. I've always looked at Antimatter as DC's version of Galactus. What does that mean, you ask? Well, Galactus is one of those characters where his power level directly depends on how well he is fed, which means or gives other weaker characters that wouldn't be able to normally fight him at full power opportunities to be able to win, defeat, hurt him, and etc. Antimatter is another case of this. His power levels are all over the place when it comes to these comics. So there are going to be times where you see characters that technically should not be able to fight him, but able to do major damage to him or possibly get close to kill him due to context of him not being at his peak of his power, not having all the antimatter universe energy inside of his body, not being at his full capacity. And there's some times where he's at medium capacity, 10% capacity, 1% capacity. Like his power levels are all over the place, which is why you will see power levels or absurd things all over the place. Like always, due to him being an event level character, he doesn't have the most feats ever due to the fact that he only comes out when crap is about to get real and when pretty much the whole universe or multiverse is in jeopardy. Without this getting too confusing, I just wanted to show you guys how the multiverse in DC works right fast. Okay, you see the circle, the spear in red? That's where all the heroes we love, the pretty much infinite universe we know of in the DC multiverse is designed, right? This is a three-dimensional space. Like all the universes in here are considered what some would say three-dimensional. Like me and you in real life, like we need time and space to survive. Somebody that's beyond 3D is above time and space to the point where they don't need time and space to occupy. And outside of the actual DC multiverse, you see where the new gods and characters like that reside. These people would be considered multiversal because they reside out of the multiverse itself. They are beyond time and space. They have to make avatar 3D versions of themselves to even fit into this little circle right here. Just where you think it can't get any crazier. This is where the monitors reside. The monitors, like Antimatter and Monitor Marnovu, these beings are even beyond multiversal because they're even beyond time and space. That I don't even know how to explain this without it getting confusing. Just know they're above even characters like True Self Darkseid. Before I move forward, I want to make something perfectly clear. The antimatter that the heroes in any incarnation, New 52, post-crisis, pre-crisis, has never fought the actual true antimatter. I just want to let that be known because he lives on a higher plane. His body cannot exist within a lower plane of the multiverse like this antimatter that the heroes fought. I want to make that perfectly clear. So basically all the feats you're going to hear are basically going to be feats from the lower avatar of Antimatter, which means that pretty much the heroes don't have any hope of fighting the true form Antimatter. I just want to make that clear. I know this is get confusing, but I hope you guys are still with me. Antimatter has a long list of powers and abilities. One of his main forms attacks is Antimatter, being able to blast Antimatter out of his hand. Pretty much energy projection, or some would call it. Can teleport beings at will. Can actually transform beings into shadow demons. He is what you would call the god of antimatter and is in charge of the antimatter universe. Pretty much the goal is to wipe out all positive energy and recreate the multiverse in his own image. So pretty much the complete opposite of his brother, Monitor. Antimatter can eliminate things from all of existence, even Immortal Man. The guy he was called Immortal Man, he died 1,000 deaths, yet with each death he was reborn, though with new and different body, but in helping to save the world, his world, Immortal Man was limited from existence. Meaning that antimatter can pretty much erase things from existence. Dead men are being known to pretty much take control of your soul and jump in your body and have full control of your body. Try to do the same thing to antimatter, but that did not work, obviously. He is definitely a higher tier being. Able to shift Earth into the antimatter universe. Stalemated his equal in power, his brother, the Monitor, Marnovu, for millions of years. They both were completely equal in power. Was able to fight pretty much every hero in existence. Not only was he able to fight every hero in existence, he was actually able to beat them down. Almost even succeeded in creating all of creation, but we know he obviously didn't because the DC multiverse is still here and flowing well. I usually like to differentiate between post-crisis and pre-crisis when it comes to antimatter, but I can honestly say post-crisis and pre-crisis antimatter don't seem that different in power, even though they both have that power fluctuations due to his Galactus nature of depending on how much power he currently has or antimatter he currently has in his body or how much he can withdraw and how much universe he's destroyed at that time. In post-crisis, he was able to take a blast from all the corpses, red, green, yellow, purple, and all. He even makes an interesting gesture saying, "Is that all you got?" basically. One of his most absurd feats probably ever in existence was the time he made an antimatter wave that wiped out all the worlds, pretty much leaving only like 5. This is ridiculous blast power. The fact that there was only 5 Earths left after there was infinite at first is ridiculous. Like a display of infinite power, man. This is really hard to scale. If this stuff wasn't always enough, like I said before, Antimatter's power fluctuates, and the reason they was even able to fight him in the first place was the fact that he was weakened that entire time. But when he was actually able to absorb the total energy of his entire universe, he was able to take attacks from pretty much every character you can think of at the same time. Getting an incalculable known level of power or power up. Did I mention that he's actually stolen the hero's life energy as well? This guy was causing major ruckus. Antimatter's power can fluctuate up and down, but at his peak power, he is too much for all the heroes in existence combined, and to the point where characters like Specter even had to get involved with him. That is straight up absurd. The fact that the Specter had to get involved and he was able to battle a heavily amped Specter one-on-one, which is pretty much God's vengeance. Yes, that's right. He's pretty much God's vengeance. Please note that the Specter that Antimatter fought was Jim Corrigan, the same Specter that not even Pre-Christ Superman could harm. More scans of him actually showing that Pre-Christ Superman is a lightweight. This Specter actually had to get involved with Antimatter during the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. That's how you know this is absurd. As you all know by now, yeah, Antimatter is an event villain, so he doesn't have that many showings, but the few showings he does have are absurd, and it really shows what level of power and concretes his level of threat, and he's an event level character. Now, all of this stuff is not the true form Antimatter because that's impossible for them to encounter because the true form Antimatter is literally too big. He's literally too big to fit inside. Yeah, I know that's crazy to imagine something being that big to where they can't even fit in the actual multiverse. But yeah, that's the reason why the other version exists, and that's the one that heroes fought. A lot of abstract beings do this. They actually have to pretty much spout out a smaller version of themselves to even fit in this lower dimensional planes. Well, in summary, how strong is the Antimatter? Well, like I said before, over and over again in the video, they did not fight the true self Antimatter because it's impossible for him to even fit in the DC multiverse because he's outside the multiverse. With that being said, how strong is the one we see? Well, the one that we did see has multiple different power levels. There's times where heroes can give him a fight. Sometimes they can struggle with him. Sometimes they can even destroy him and give him a... There was times where Superman could hurt him. There's times where Superman couldn't hurt him. When he finally got to the peak of his power, characters like Specter had to get involved. That was his actual peak of his power, even for this multiversal standards. I mean, the time where they actually was able to somewhat kill him, or some would say his body was actually used as a corpse to a battery to the Black Lantern corpse. That shows you that he has a lot of power for the simple fact that a dead corpse supposedly can power the Black Lantern corpse. But what do you guys think about this? How did you like my little rundown of the Antimatter? Is there feats that I missed? Are there feats that I should have added in there? Do you think I over-exaggerated his power? Do you think I underestimated his power? Did I make this as non-confusing as possible? Because I know it can get a little complicated when you get to these characters this freaking powerful, which is one of the reasons why I haven't done a whole bunch of characters this powerful on my channel when it comes to the How Strong series. But more like this will come in the future if you guys like this. But what do you guys think? What do you guys thought? Is there any powers or abilities that I didn't mention? And if you want to find a lot of the things on my page without being lost or anything like that, make sure you check out my playlist on my channel. I pretty much organize everything on my channel that way so it won't overwhelm you on videos, because I know it can get a little hard searching through hundreds of videos when you're trying to look for something in particular. So I try to make playlists to organize it as best as possible. But I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Make sure you post them comments down below. Are you guys ready for the CW event? That's the reason I'm making this in the first place, for Antimatter. But make sure you post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think.